What a crazy week one. It's just it's so hard to predict. I mean, week one is probably the hardest to predict who you want to start sit. So if I got a couple wrong, give me a break. For the most part, looking at it, I didn't do bad. But there's some where people might get a little mad at me if they did actually listen to me. So basically, I'm just kind of go through the games, but also talk about like who did what on my stardom situms. If you didn't see the video, I guess you don't really need to watch it now, but this is just like a recap of it, just to see how well I did. I will be doing another one. It'll be out Thursday, so hopefully you can watch that before you set your lineups. If you do have a player from the Panthers or the Buccaneers. But just a quick recap. Lamar can throw the ball.
Not bad for a running back.
He can. And I know it's against the Dolphins, so he's getting discredited, but he was pretty accurate. So Lamar was one of the ones I said start. He had 33.56 points, so if you started him, you're welcome. Wentz had 25 points, which is solid. Matthew Stafford had 25 versus the Cards. Kyler Murray looked rough. Um, Kyler Murray didn't look too good first three quarters, so the fourth quarter they stepped it up. That offense looked completely different. So he had 21.62. This is all in PPR, by the way. Um, the one I got wrong is Jameis, and I really had high hopes for Jameis and him being in Bruce Arians' offense, to be honest. He got 5 points, and I know the guy I do the podcast with, Blake. I talk about him sometimes on here. Obviously, a lot of you know who he is. He started him instead of Matt Ryan, and I kind of feel bad about it. He did lose in my league, so it's tough. But I just really thought that was gonna go better. So, on the sit-em side, who I said to sit, we'll start with Matt Ryan. He had a good game. He had 18 points. So, I mean, it sucks that I got that wrong. I really thought the Vikings would be better. Obviously, the Vikings won, and they destroyed in the run game. I think Kirk Cousins threw 10 times. He should have been a sit-em, I guess, for me. Um, but, yeah, Matt Ryan did pretty good. So, even though they lost by 16. Then I had Cam Newton versus the Rams. He looked awful. Christian McCaffrey is the only bright spot for that team. Cam had 4.36, so that's pretty terrible. Aaron Rodgers in the Thursday night game, that offense didn't look that great, but they still won. So he had 12.92 points. So that's not very good for a quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo versus the Bucks. Um, was it versus the Bucks? That's what it says on here. So actually it was, yeah. He didn't look very good either, like I thought he wouldn't. So he had 10.4 points. So that's not very good. Those are the quarterbacks. I actually did pretty good. I got one sit 'em wrong. I got one start 'em wrong. So the running backs, I messed up, and I'm sorry. Carry on didn't do crap. For them being in the lead so long, you think he would have gotten the ball a lot more than he actually did, I guess. He's just not as involved as I would like him to be, so I worry about Carry On. He had 8.2 points. It's not terrible. That's like a kind of get you by, I guess, if you use your flex. But yeah, not too good. Fournette is the other one. Fournette played against the Chiefs. Thought he would go off. It does not help that Nick Foles got hurt and is out now. So I don't know how I feel about Fournette going on. He just didn't look too good, really. He had 12.4 points, but he fumbled, and so he had 10. The fumble kind of hurt. It's still serviceable. Um, Obviously, I would think about him as like a flex every week, but there's going to be times where he could pop off. I just thought he would do really good against the Chiefs, who don't really have a great defense. Um, and then Chris Carson was really the only one I got right, I guess. Like I said, Fournette didn't do terrible. But Chris Carson had 23 against the Bengals. It's not hard to predict. I've been saying that he's going to have a good year. I still think he's going to be top 5. I wish he had like 6 catches for 35 yards. I feel like he's got to go get a little bit better at just turning upfield once he catches the ball. But Jalen Richard is the waiver wire ad I said to add, and if anyone did that, I'm very sorry. Uh, the Raiders dominated that game, and they dominated by running, and it wasn't as lopsided as I thought it would be. I really thought like they'd have to go to Jalen because they were down and they needed a touchdown, and Jalen's probably is definitely the better pass catching running back. So he had point 0.3 points. So I'm sorry, but it's just you never know. Week 1 is tough, man. My situms. Aaron Jones. Let's just start good here. I think I went 3 for 5 on the situms. If you ever try to do this, this is really hard, especially week 1. Like I feel a lot more confident going into week 2, but my situms are Aaron Jones versus the Bears. Didn't do good like I thought. 4.9 points. So if you didn't start him, good job. Josh Jacobs is the other one versus the Broncos. Like I said, they ran it down their throats. So he had 24 points, and he did some record that it hasn't been done since LaDainian Tomlinson. So that's pretty good. Joe Mixon got hurt, and he only had 3.7 points, so that's good on my part. I actually like Joe Mixon a lot. So Derrick Henry. Still don't start Derrick Henry, please. Unless you're kind of guy that just like, well, if he's going to give me 5 points. And it seems like Derrick Henry only goes off when the game is a blowout. If he didn't have that catch for 75 yards and a touchdown, he wasn't doing that great. Wasn't. There was a point where he had like 12 rushes for like 35 yards and a touchdown. The Titans are, I don't know, like I just don't know about the Titans, man, but Derrick Henry did shut me up. I do talk a lot of crap about Derrick Henry, but I still want him to do that on a consistent basis. And the Browns look like crap. So Kenyon Drake is versus the Ravens. I said don't start him. He got 4 points, 4.7. They look awful, terrible. My starters for the receivers: Kenny Galladay versus the Cards, 14.2. Honestly, all the receivers for the starters actually did pretty solid. 14.2 versus the Cards. Chris Godwin did 14.3. Literally a touchdown is pretty much what saved him, because other than that, he was 3 for 53. So Jarvis did but like I said, the Browns looked really bad. Baker looks really bad. I'm not aboard the Baker train. Haven't ever been. I think he is going to throw way too many picks, and he started that out with 3 picks. So with the talent around him, he should be 10 times better. Amari Cooper versus the Giants had 22.6. Michael Gallup did really good too. I think he had like 24 fantasy points. Cooper Kupp versus the Panthers. I actually started him. He had 11.6. I assume he does better next week, to be honest. It's still not bad. Dede Westbrook versus the Chiefs, 14.2. Going forward, I don't know how I feel about Dede Westbrook. That backup that looks like Baker is actually pretty solid, so we'll see. And then my waiver wire ads. I seem to have sucked at the waiver wire ads. This is why they're on the waivers, because obviously they're not good. Adam Humphries didn't do good versus the Browns. He had 1.5 fantasy points. It was guys like A.J. Brown on that team that actually did really good. So wouldn't have thought that, even though I like A.J. Brown. My sits were DJ Moore versus the Rams. He had 11. I mean, it shouldn't hurt your team, whoever you started before him. 11's not the greatest, but, you know. Dante Pettis got 2 snaps. 2 snaps. He had 1.7 fantasy points. Do not start Dante Pettis, ever. He is just not, he's not getting the high quality possessions, or he's just not on the field. Like, it's not good for him right now. He looks pretty bad. I said to sit Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon is a high... Taking a shot on Josh Gordon is like you're really just depending on him getting a deep ball. And now that Antonio Brown is on that team, I think he gets hurt the most by that signing. I think Julian Edelman is fine. I think James White might be screwed a little bit too. And obviously Philip Dorsett, who kind of went off, is probably going to be irrelevant. But he had 16.3. He had a touchdown. Touchdowns usually save everything in fantasy. But like I said, like if he didn't have the touchdown, he's just he's not going to get the receptions like Julian or James White. So you're really just basing it off of hoping that he scores a touchdown or gets huge reception. So he did look like a beast breaking tackles, but Tyler Boyd versus Seahawks had 14. I didn't think that game was going to be as close as it was, so sorry about that. He's also on one of my teams, so I sat him. Christian Kirk versus Lions. Christian Kirk actually looks really good. I think he will have really good fantasy value. He had 10 points, so a lot of my sit-em receivers were kind of like, I don't know. I try to pick guys that are really actually were drafted high, that I just didn't think we were gonna have good weeks, and they ended up having really solid weeks. So that's where I really messed up. Um, but like I said, week one it's hard to do. So the tight ends, Mark Andrews went off like I thought he would. Like I said, it's first to Dolphins, but he pretty much had a career game. I think it was his first touchdown ever. He had 24.8 points, which is great for a tight end. OJ Howard and the Buccaneers, there's not much to say. I really think that I really feel like Thursday, like they'll do a lot better. That Panthers defense is kind of underrated though, but I don't know. OJ Howard only having 4.2 points is not very good. So Vance McDonald, versus the Patriots. Why do the Steelers suck versus the Patriots? I don't know. We'll never get it. He had 6, and I look for him to be more involved in that offense than he was. Dante Moncrief does not deserve 10 targets. He's not the greatest receiver ever, and I don't know. I feel like they need to like slow it down a little bit, run the ball to James Conner a little bit more, short passes, and to him and Juju. Even Juju did pretty bad. So my sit-em was Austin Hooper versus the Vikings. Didn't think Austin Hooper was going to do anything. So he had 16 points, which is pretty solid for a tight end. My other one was Greg Olsen versus the Rams. He had 7 points. So like I said, I'm sorry if you took somebody out of your lineup because of me. But for the most part, I feel like I did pretty solid. Hold on, I'll count this up. Yeah, so I got 22 out of the 34 people that I said were good. So I mean, it's really not that good. Like it's almost depressing. I promise. Going into week one was very hard. But I promise I'll be better this week. Even though I don't feel like I did bad, especially for you just going into week one, you have no idea what's gonna happen. You don't know who's gonna be the focal point of the offense, unless it's like Saquon or Carrion, because Carrion was butt cheeks. Like just guys like that, like David Johnson or um, but like I try to pick guys that aren't usually the focal point of that offense. Um, and some of them bit me in the butt, and some of them didn't. So I might do it a little bit differently this week. I might just go game by game, and uh, it's just trying to fit all of this into one video. I don't want the video to be 30 minutes long. I'm not a podcast. I'm really just here to try to help you guys. Uh, and also another thing I want to say, don't go crazy because some of these guys shit the bed, like Joe Mixon, Fournette. Don't start trading them for nothing, or for guys that like went off once. Like if you're trading Fournette for Marquise Brown, you need to just take a step back, realize it's week one, calm down. Um, like just it's gonna be okay. I promise. Week one is the hardest week in fantasy. So week two stardom sit-ems will be coming Thursday right before the game. Probably get the video out around 2, 1, depending on what time I get home from work. But if you did enjoy and I did help you, that's great. If I didn't, I'm really sorry. Um, Also, if you have any questions, like who should I start? Should I start this guy or this guy? Leave it in the comments. I was actually really good on that. Like I'm not even gonna lie. About 10 to 12 people asked me, Dakota, who should I start? This guy or this guy? And I pretty much got them all right. Like one of them was Ty. Should I start Ty or somebody else? And I said to start Ty. Another example is like Aaron Jones versus somebody else. I said to sit Aaron Jones. Obviously, the person didn't watch my video. But like, if you have any questions like that, and if I don't talk about your player and you really need help, and you take my opinion, like, and you like my opinions, just put it in the comments. I will be more than happy to answer your questions. But anyways, if you made this far, make sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and peace.